But first...
All around us, in every part of the UK, are skilled teams of eagle-eyed men and women, working alongside the police to keep us safe. They're the people on the front line, tackling the hazards that place us in danger.
As a family, life is so different. It's just absolutely heartbreaking just to know that he's not here.
They're cracking down on those who threaten our families.
My mum was getting somewhere in the region of 30 scam letters delivered every day.
They're protecting us from new dangers that lurk online.
As soon as I transferred the money and I saw my account say 0, I knew.
These men and women make up the UK's enforcement teams, our defenders. Today, our defenders track down a loan shark targeting hard-up families.
Whatever happens, however difficult things get financially, using an illegal moneylender is like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire.
They catch a con man selling non-existent holidays.
The balance was just over 2,300 and something, which we paid on the Saturday and I paid in cash. The following Monday, we'd heard that he'd gone on a holiday of his own with our money.
And they investigate the tragic death of a railway worker.
In all my time doing this job, this was the most easily avoidable accident I've seen. It was just a catalogue of very simple errors.
This is Tony Taylor, a con man who tricked hundreds of Black Country pensioners out of thousands of pounds. He promised them a 5-day holiday on the English Riviera, then left them waiting for a coach that never arrived.
Taylor, quite simply, was a con man. He targeted elderly, vulnerable people and exploited them. This was a clear and deliberate attempt to defraud consumers. The holiday simply didn't exist.
"82-year-old widow Jean Wright was treasurer for the Wiley Avenue South Community Group for nearly 20 years. The group was set up to support elderly residents living on their own.
It's companionship more than anything. The majority of the people that live in the 33 bungalows in Wiley Avenue are mainly single people, so that they've got somewhere to go, coffee morning or bingo 2 nights a week. It's a good place for people to gather, to get together, so that they're not on their own.
Jean booked regular day trips and coach holidays for anyone who wanted to go.
We've been to Blackpool, Southport, Llandudno, Weston. We've had holidays in Cornwall, Weymouth, Eastbourne. You retire and that's what you look forward to, you know, your trips out.
Jean started using a local company called TT Tours Limited, run by Tony Taylor. The company was offering coach holidays and day trips. One holiday in particular caught Jean's attention. 5 days in Torquay, in the heart of the English Riviera.
Well, it was £99 the trip was. It was a 5-day holiday with bed, breakfast and evening meal, 2 day trips out and a free bar, if you ask. There was a free bar, all for £99.
It sounded great value. And places on the holiday were quickly snapped up.
I mean, it was fantastic for elderly people. For £99 to get a week's holiday was good.
February the 17th, 2020. The big day had finally arrived. Jean and her neighbour Margaret headed for the agreed pick-up point.
I left here at about 8:22. It's quite a walk to where we was being picked up. So we got there, and there's a little wall there. We sat on the little wall, you know, shivering.
The coach was due at 8 a.m, but it didn't turn up.
When we arrived, it was absolutely freezing. We were all dressed up in boots, scarves, overcoats, and, you know, the weather was absolutely bitter.
There were 300 people at 9 pickup points, all waiting for their coach to arrive.
I kept looking down to see if the coach was coming all the time and looking at my watch and trying to make phone calls. Nobody was answering me. I was trying to get in touch with the other group that was in Darlaston Town Centre to tell them what was going on.
Jean started to fear the worst.
8:30 came, nothing. 9 o'clock. It was about 9:25 I had a phone call.
The call was from Tony Taylor's assistant. It was bad news. The coaches weren't coming. The hotels hadn't been booked and were completely unaware of what Taylor had promised. There was no holiday.
She said, Jean, I'm sorry. I have to tell you that this holiday is not going to go on. He hasn't booked any of the facilities, no coaches, no hotels. I mean, we were all over 65, some 70s. I had one lady who was 94. You know, and I mean, she was trying to keep her warm, like, you know. It was awful. It really was an awful morning. Oh, I was absolutely gutted. Because it was me who had organised it. I really felt as if it was my fault. I suppose I should have known, for in 21 years of being the treasurer, of being responsible for all the money of the group, that's the first time we'd ever been conned out of anything.
Alison Farrer is lead officer for consumer education at the Chartered Trading Standards Institute.
To that lady who organised that and feels so bad now, what I would say is this wasn't her fault. She didn't steal the money. She didn't put a fake trip on. She might have fallen for something that looked really genuine. But I always say this, these people are career criminals. They find clever ways of stealing people's money. They're not just like you and me. They're not honest people. They are deliberately trying to con you, and therefore when you fall for it, it isn't your fault.
Taylor's previous convictions largely related to dishonesty, but he was a very, very convincing person, and so elderly people trusted him with their hard-earned money.
Lee Jenks is Wolverhampton's Trading Standards team leader. As soon as he heard what had happened, Lee took up the fight on behalf of the pensioners.
Someone needed to stand up for them and protect them. Myself and my team put ourselves forward to do that, and we did everything we could to ensure that justice prevailed.
Later.
There is his year planner. So there is the Torquay holiday, 17th to the 21st.
Our defenders find evidence that the bogus Torquay holiday was just the beginning.
Blackpool, Bournemouth, another Isle of Wight, Skegness, Scotland, locations all across the UK and all throughout the year.
The cost of living's been rising fast, with price increases on everything from fuel to food.
Home energy bills in the UK could rise even higher.
The price of petrol and diesel is on the rise.
Citizens advice say people should seek help as soon as possible.
Just don't see how people are going to find that kind of money that are living, you know, from week to week.
Now, illegal moneylenders or loan sharks are cashing in, offering desperate families quick, short-term loans with extortionate rates of interest.
The average APRs that we come across with illegal moneylenders is around the 15,000%, but we've seen them go up to 4.5 million%.
These loans are completely unregulated and can quickly clock up thousands of pounds in interest.
Whatever happens, you know, however difficult things get financially, using an illegal moneylender is like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire.
Tony Quigley runs England's illegal moneylending team.
My experience over the years has been that if people get into the clutches of an illegal moneylender, then it only ends up with misery.
Tony is our defender.
When you've got people that are going round taking advantage of others who are financially vulnerable, that's just despicable.
Loan sharks have always been around. Normally, they operate by word of mouth and stay within their local community. Now, there's a new generation operating online, using social media to spread the word, and even hiring influencers to promote their services.
We're seeing more use of electronic devices, we're seeing more use of social media platforms, so your WhatsApp, your Snapchat, your Instagram, whatever it may be that they feel comfortable using. Traditionally, loan sharks would operate within the area that they lived. Now, the world is their oyster.
Sheffield Hallam University student Rovin Mavunga is one of the new breed of online loan sharks. In 2018, Mavunga started offering quick, short-term loans with sky-high rates of interest.
He set up a loans business without the required authorisation, so nobody had looked at it and nobody had okayed it and assessed it and given him the relevant permission. This particular individual wasn't somebody who hadn't even considered this. He was a business student.
Mavunga used a social media influencer with thousands of followers to advertise his loans.
And I think in this particular instance, the use of the influencer was the thing that built his business up, was the thing that created, if you like, a marketplace for him, because it gave him that legitimacy.
Sarah Smith runs the illegal money lending unit in Wales.
If you're a loan shark, you can reach a much wider audience on social media than you can in your local community. And that's what it's all about. They're hooking younger and younger people in. The use of influencers that have got, a massive following, obviously just plies their trade even more for them. They can reach significantly more people than they could have done via traditional means.
Mavunga issued loans of between £10 and £500, often to people who needed money for the basic essentials of life.
He would check out your identity, he would give you a loan through a bank transfer, you would have to pay back double the amount, and if you didn't pay, he would use the same platforms then to harangue you and harass you to make sure that you paid.
Mavunga was using a phone app called Snapchat to send intimidating and threatening messages. Snapchat messages disappear shortly after they've been read, so using them as evidence wasn't going to be easy.
So with Snapchat, a lot of the messages will automatically delete once you've looked at them. They're deleted immediately, so it becomes very difficult for us law enforcement to monitor this and also to get people to show us the type of messages they were dealing with.
Then, Tony and his team got the breakthrough they needed. One of Mavunga's victims managed to capture images of the messages before they were deleted.
He would sit outside your house and send you a picture of your door, or he would send a picture of the car on the drive. What that's telling you is I'm outside. But he would then apply a message to it. I want my money by tomorrow. But psychologically, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Later, it's payback time for Mavunga and the theatre group backing our defenders in the fight to protect people from loan sharks.
Look, I've got a mate on Snapchat called Erin. All you have to do is drop her a message, let her know how much you want to borrow. It's that simple.
We saw earlier how hundreds of pensioners were left waiting for a coach that never arrived.
I mean, we were all over 65, some 70s. I had one lady who was 94.
They'd been tricked into paying for a 5-day holiday in Torquay. But the holiday didn't exist. It was a scam. Lee Jenks is Trading Standards team leader at Wolverhampton City Council.
We cover a wide range of elements. We look at matters such as fair trading, product safety, counterfeiting, weights and measures.
Lee is our defender.
What we're trying to do is improve consumer confidence and consumer protection in the city of Wolverhampton.
When Lee heard about the bogus Torquay coach trip, he launched an urgent investigation.
No matter how long you do the job for, it's still surprising how someone can exploit such vulnerable people, and to do it again and again and again. This wasn't 1, 2 or 3 people. This was hundreds of people that he ripped off, and so the scale of it is just mind-boggling.
The Torquay holiday had been booked through TT Tours Limited, owned and run by Tony Taylor.
It was clear that something wasn't right because Mr. Taylor had completely disappeared.
Lee was determined to track Taylor down and bring him to justice. His first step was to invite anyone booked onto the Torquay trip to a public meeting at Bilston Town Hall.
We had well over 100 people turn up. There was a mixture of emotions, some disbelief, some anger.
Taylor was a con man. And Torquay was just one of several bogus holidays he tricked people into paying for. Former pub landlady Margaret Barham met Taylor in person and admits she was completely taken in by him.
It was Bilston Market. He had a stall there. We go there quite regularly because we like the market, and the one day we were looking round and noticed this stall which was advertising weekend breaks, holidays.
Taylor was there at the stall.
He seemed so genuine, very well dressed, very polite. Couldn't do enough to help, you know, anything you want, just let me know. My 65th birthday was coming up, so we thought it'd be nice to go away for the weekend and perhaps invite friends and family.
Taylor offered to arrange a bespoke holiday. A 2-night stay at a hotel in the cathedral city of York.
He'd arrange the transport, he'd pick us all up in one place, rather than, you know, going around different pickups. Gave us a leaflet of the hotel in York, which was a very nice, plush hotel right by the river. And everything seemed hunky-dory.
It sounded like a good deal, so Margaret booked and paid the deposit.
Everything was so genuine, the receipts he was giving us, stamped with the company stamp on it, and we got his address, and everything was so genuine. So, you know, why should not think it was real?
The truth was, the transport was never arranged, and the hotel was completely unaware. The holiday had never been booked.
The balance was just over 2,300 and something, which we paid on the Saturday, and I paid in cash because that's how everyone had given me their money. And then the following Monday, we'd heard that he'd gone on a holiday of his own with our money.
In total, Margaret had handed over more than £3,000.
I've always thought I was quite savvy and thought, well, you know, nobody's going to pull a fast one on me.
Later, Tony Taylor finally faces justice.
The judge saw through all of the charisma of Taylor and was satisfied that he was a con man who had exploited these people.
Working on the railways is a potentially hazardous job. Safety is paramount, and serious incidents are relatively rare. But when things do go wrong, the consequences can be catastrophic.
The railway is a really, really dangerous place. We have moving vehicles, we have high voltage electricity. If that's not adequately controlled, then people unfortunately do suffer life-changing injuries and even fatalities.
For 20 years, John Bell worked at Tyne and Wear Metro, one of the UK's busiest light railway systems. John was a linesman, responsible for repairing high-voltage overhead cables. Then, on July the 6th, 2014, John suffered a massive electric shock and died instantly.
I was assigned to this case within days of the incident.
Mark Goff is the Principal Electrification Engineer for the Office of Rail and Road. It's Mark's job to investigate tragic incidents like this one.
The first thing we always do is try as much to preserve the scene, take photographs, and then systematically start to interview the persons involved.
Mark was determined to find out what went wrong and whether it could have been avoided.
Well, is this a one-off, or has it happened before? Is it a systemic failure? And by that we look at records of previous incidents or records of previous jobs just to see if the paperwork's correct. We interview people in more depth to see what's happened, and we gradually build up a picture of what's happened.
John Bell's job, maintaining and repairing overhead cables, was extremely high risk.
Overhead lines on the railway are uninsulated high voltage cables, and if anybody comes near or touches them, they're at risk of having a serious electrical shock. It can cause an electrical explosion, which is a similar force to a space shuttle launch.
The company that runs Tyne and Wear Metro, Nexus, is supposed to ensure strict safety protocols are being properly enforced. For the workforce, the stakes couldn't be higher.
On the rail industry, they have a really good safety record, and by and large they follow the procedures. But when that complacency starts, people start to make mistakes or to make omissions, and each one of those omissions can be potentially fatal.
Shelley Asquith is the TUC's Health and Safety Policy Officer.
For
Following health and safety regulations is always important, but in particular in safety critical roles where you've got hundreds of people's lives on the line, the travelling public as well as the workforce, it is incredibly, incredibly important.
Mark interviewed John's colleagues and checked paperwork for the day in question. What emerged was a shocking picture of basic safety procedures being ignored.
This incident was some of the biggest failings I have ever seen for an electrical incident.
On the 6th of July 2014, John and his colleagues were working at the South Gosforth depot in Newcastle when they noticed a fault on an overhead line.
Doing the absolutely right thing, he decided he was going to repair it.
John had climbed the ladder and grabbed one of the overhead wires. He thought it had been isolated from the power supply, but it hadn't. John received a massive electric shock and died at the scene.
The device to test before touch had been left in the van, so had not been used. And there was no safety documentation to show that they'd actually planned the work and worked out how to switch it off and make it safe. They did not check that it was switched off before they began work, which is a fundamental failing.
Photographs taken at the scene provided more astonishing evidence. The ladder John had used to access the overhead lines was resting against one of the cables.
Use of the ladder, which is, as you can see, is lining up against the contact wire. Now, this is totally unacceptable. Nobody would work on an overhead line system from a ladder in this way. That leads into this evidence that there was a culture of complacency and cutting corners.
When it comes to health and safety in the workplace, the buck stops with the employer. It's their duty of care and it's their responsibility to make sure that they're abiding by health and safety legislation, meeting regulations and not breaching them, and also making sure that everybody's got adequate training and knows what they're supposed to be doing to keep themselves safe.
Looking back at records, Mark discovered that this wasn't a one-off. Corners were being cut on a regular basis. Nexus had failed to enforce the health and safety protocols, and complacent work practices had built up over years.
There was no monitoring of the work, there was no checking the work to ensure it was being correctly adhered to. This really was a management failing.
These failures resulted in a dangerous work environment, and now it had proved fatal. After a lengthy investigation, Nexus pleaded guilty to breaches under the Health and Safety at Work Act.
In all my time doing this job, this was the most easily avoidable accident I've seen. It was just a catalogue of very simple errors.
John's widow, Susan, provided a statement for the court describing the impact his death had had on her and their 3 children.
I can't even begin to express how losing John has affected our family. When someone goes out to work as normal and never returns, the initial feeling is of shock. Our children, Sophie, James and Daniel, were aged 15, 13 and 8 at the time of John's death, and having to sit down and explain to them what had happened is the worst thing I have ever had to do. As time goes on, the shock subsides, but everyday life will never be the same again. I feel a great sadness at all the things John has missed in the almost 7 years since he died.
In April 2021, Nexus was fined £1.5 million.
I think the fine of 1.5 million was a significant wake-up call for the industry, and it really did start to drive improvements, particularly on reinforcing the need to test before touch and to apply the life-saving rules.
Nexus has now banned work on live lines where there's risk of injury.
You're sad that the person has died, and it's a totally avoidable accident, but there is some element of pride that we have actually made a difference to the workplace and perhaps prevented an accident in the future.
Earlier, we saw how hundreds of pensioners were left high and dry by charming conman Tony Taylor.
Taylor was a very convincing and likeable person. What people didn't realise is that he had a criminal history. He was very charismatic, and so people trusted and believed in him.
Lee Jenks was determined to stop more elderly people being conned. He started looking into Taylor's company, TT Tours Limited.
TT Tours was a limited company set up to offer day trips and short breaks in the UK. On paper, it seemed like a legitimate company, but as soon as we looked into it, it was obvious that that wasn't the case. All the money went directly into Taylor's own account, and he spent it as if it was his own.
With no company accounts to go through, Lee and his colleagues seized paperwork from the TT Tours market stall.
This is our evidence store, so this is where we keep the majority of our evidence from the various cases that we do. Here, for example, we have some of the diaries that Taylor was using, as well as receipt books.
The receipt books proved crucial in establishing the scale of the fraud.
So here we're able to put together a better picture of the amounts of money that were handed over to Taylor, and that gave us a rough idea of the income of the business.
Taylor had received £30,000 for the 5-day Torquay trip that customers were promised, but never went ahead.
There is his year planner. So there is the Torquay holiday, 17th to the 21st.
But Torquay was just the beginning.
There are a number of holidays that he had coming up following the Torquay holiday, and we know that a significant amount of money was handed over for these holidays, such as Isle of Wight, another Torquay holiday. I think with the Isle of Wight holidays, it was in the region of £12,000 had been taken for those. But again, the money had disappeared.
In total, Taylor had conned customers out of £65,000.
Blackpool, Bournemouth, another Isle of Wight, Skegness, Scotland, locations all across the UK and all throughout the year. It was clear that he was going to carry on taking money for other holidays, whether they existed or not.
When Taylor was questioned, instead of admitting the offences, he insisted he was the victim. It was another lie.
He said that he'd handed over the money to a booking agent, but was unable to provide any information or detail about this person. The story, frankly, was ridiculous. The only information that he could provide was a phone number. When we phoned the phone number, it didn't exist.
At Wolverhampton Crown Court, Taylor pleaded guilty to fraud, but continued to claim he'd been duped.
The lies became more and more ridiculous and the story less and less believable. The judge saw through all of the charisma of Taylor and was satisfied that he was a con man who had exploited these people.
Tony Taylor was jailed for 4 years and banned from being a company director for 10.
There's always an amount of professional pride in what we do, especially when we get a result like this. To have dealt with a fraudster who's conned so many people and to be able to get a result is massively pleasing, and it shows that the hard work was definitely worth it.
It's not just about putting away the criminals and solving those crimes, it's about helping people move forward from that, pick up their lives and learn from it.
I spoke to some of the victims outside court afterwards. They were very grateful for the work that had gone into this, and they were pleased with the result.
Wolverhampton Trading Standards, I think, acted very well. I didn't ever think he'd get caught, but just goes to show nobody's that clever, are they, really?
I'd like to say thank you very much for, for all that they have done. Without them, he would still be doing it, wouldn't he?
Where people seek to exploit elderly and vulnerable people, or anyone for that matter, myself and my team will work tirelessly to bring them to justice.
Earlier, Snapchat loan shark Rovin Mavunga was offering short-term loans to people struggling to make ends meet.
He would give you a loan through a bank transfer. You would have to pay back double the amount, and if you didn't pay, he would use the same platforms then to harangue you and harass you to make sure that you paid. It would be, you owe me this money and I'm sitting outside of your house. The underlying theme is, I know where you live.
Our defenders were tipped off about Mavunga. He was arrested and his home address searched.
We're looking for electronic devices or anything that we can extract evidence from to show the way that they were operating. Everybody uses text messages and WhatsApp and other forms of messaging, Facebook messaging. Illegal lenders are no different.
Our defenders recovered a wealth of electronic evidence. Mavunga had been running his illegal business for 2 years and had 130 borrowers on his books.
In that time, he'd given out over £100,000. He'd collected over £100,000, but he was expecting a further £100,000. So that shows you the scale of his business growing, but more important than that, what it also shows you is how quickly he spread, if you like, his business through the use of social media.
One of his victims was a single mum. Her first loan was £200. When she struggled to repay it, she was sent intimidating messages.
This type of activity is not acceptable. And like any illegal money lender, I believe that it's taking advantage of the financially vulnerable. It's ripping people off. It's people who can least afford it.
The victims that they target and the people that they, take advantage of are generally in such a higher state of vulnerability. The impact on them can be, devastating in terms of their, physical and mental health. And they see that, that is the opportunity. They can befriend them, they can groom them, and they can exploit them and make a lot of money off them.
Mavunga pleaded guilty to illegal money lending, and in June 2021, he was jailed for 1 year, 4 months.
The most satisfying part of this job is when you identify and evidence and prove that somebody is breaking the law, taking advantage of vulnerable people, and you stop it. We all have a duty in society to treat each other with respect, and I think when you've got people that are going around taking advantage of others who are financially vulnerable, that's just despicable.
I'm just so skint then. I'm overdrawn in my bank by 180.
Tony's team commissioned Liverpool-based Perception Theatre to produce a short film called Shark. The film highlights the danger of using loan sharks.
I owe Joe 120 for my phone bill. My mum's birthday's this weekend and my rent's due at the end of the month.
I wouldn't worry too much. You'll figure it out.
In this scene, the young man is introduced to a loan shark using social media.
Look, I've got a mate on Snapchat called Eden. All you have to do is drop it a message, let him know how much you want to borrow. It's that simple.
Bobby Lee Scott wrote the script for Shark.
The main aim of the project was to debunk the myths and the perceptions of what a loan shark is, what a loan shark looks like, and the types of people who are borrowing and lending from loan sharks as well.
Social media platforms like Facebook, WhatsApp and Snapchat mean loan sharks can now reach a wider audience.
We've all got a device in our back pocket that can give us a quick access to various platforms and to social media, and so in terms of it being a strategy for loan sharks to exploit and use, I think it's probably up the game, and it's probably made it even a lot easier for them to target people and to target vulnerable people.
Bobby hopes the film will help raise awareness and ultimately stop people from turning to illegal moneylenders.
It'd be amazing to stop people engaging with loan sharks from the get-go and try and divert people away from that, and I think that's something we really hope to achieve with Shark.
If we stop one person from using an illegal moneylender, the film has been a success.
How much do you need, Liam?
£120 if that's possible.
Across the UK, our defenders are working tirelessly to keep us safe, to ensure we're treated fairly, and to fight for justice on our behalf.
It's really nice to be able to come home at the end of the day and say, I helped somebody today, I helped a business, I helped a consumer, I helped protect somebody.
Well, there's more Monday morning at 10 o'clock. But next, the things that could go wrong if you're planning a caravan holiday. Rip Off Britain in a moment.